Hello everyone. This is the second video of the series 20 Minutes About Me. In this video, I will share my experience about knowledge graph and large language models, aka ChatGPT. As I have explained that I'm doing this is to let potential collaborators, investors and recruiters know more about me. I believe it is important to know a person's value, expertise, and vision before deciding to work together. The theme of this video is about knowledge graph and large language models, which is a big part of my current research. Now let's have a look at the roadmap of this video. First, I will give some examples of showing hallucinative behaviors of ChatGPT. Then I will explain why it happens like this. After that, I will explain how knowledge graph could address this issue. Finally, I will explain why I fell in love with knowledge graph. I hope you will enjoy this video. Let's get started. It has been well known that large language models such as ChatGPT have the capacity to generate human-like text. However, it is also well known that these models sometimes generate hallucinative text. Let's check some examples. In this example, I asked ChatGPT a question. What is H01M 10/06 in pattern classification? ChatGPT gives some answers. If you are not a pattern expert, you may think the answers are correct. But if you are a pattern expert, you will find that the answers are wrong. In this example, the model I'm using is GPT 3.5 and Tobu. Sorry, not Tobu. So before go for the next example, let me explain what is CPC classification. CPC classification is a patent classification system. It is used by patent offices to classify patent documents. Say you create a new technology like the one shown on the screen. After submitting the patent application, the patent office will assign a CPC classification to your patent. This classification is used to search for similar patents. In this case, it will be H04M, which is a classification for telecommunication. Now, say you got this invention, which is an electric battery. The patent office will assign a CPC classification to your patent. In this case, it will be H01M, which is classification for batteries, and subclassification 10/0 is for lead-acid batteries. So this is important. The truth about this CPC patent classification is lead-acid batteries. However, when we asked ChatGPT what is H01M 10/6, it told us that it is classification for battery, but did not tell us it is for lead-acid batteries. This is hallucinative behavior. If you read the text, you can see it gives you some extra information which is basically useless. Okay, you may argue that GPT-4 will perform better, but when I tried GPT-4, it still gives some wrong information, and some of the information is even misleading. I tried several times with different models, but the results are similar. This is a common issue for large language models. In this round, GPT says that H01M 10/6 is lithium battery, but it's not. It's lead-acid battery. Again, this is the hallucinative behavior. I tried again, but the result is still wrong. So why large language models have hallucination issue? So before I answer this question, let's review some basic concepts about linear regression. Whether it is linear regression or transformer model, they all try to estimate parameters of function by doing some optimization. The difference is that linear regression is just a simple model. While a transformer model behind ChatGPT is a complex model. However, the process is the same. They need to fit with data, small data set or huge data set like ChatGPT used, use optimization to find the best parameters. Therefore, both linear regression and transformer models are probabilistic models. This means that they behave stochastically. If you didn't study probability or mathematics, the stochastically basically means that they have some random behaviors. So therefore, when you go to predict or do some inference or generate text, they go off the track sometimes. So when we ask a question to a transformer model, it will give us an answer based on probability distribution of the answers. The answer with the highest probability will be selected. Therefore, it has a chance to give us the wrong answer. This is why I say the hallucinative behavior of ChatGPT. Because large language models have to find their parameters in different probability space and distribution, they have to make some trade-offs. When they are doing prediction or generation, each token follows a path that is shaped by maximum likelihood estimation. Therefore, jumping around in the probability space is inevitable. Okay, let me repeat it again. Jumping around in the probability space is inevitable for any transformer models. This is why we see hallucinative behavior of ChatGPT. So people in the community are aware of this issue. How could we solve this problem then? The industry has basically spent lots of investment and energy on RAG, which means retrieval augmented generation. The idea is to use documents or data as ground truth to guide the generation process. There are many packages are doing this. I will not go into details here. But let me remind you, because right now we see a lot of money, also, people who want get the return for the early investment, though they have to keep on telling people those things are so fantastic, but very often it doesn't work that well. So be careful when people tell you the AI will, fundamentally change the world. It will slowly, but not in 1 or 2 years. So recently, Microsoft published a research paper called Graph RAG. The idea is to use knowledge graph to guide the generation process. The results are quite promising. This is one of the reasons that I also spend a lot of energy and time on learning knowledge graph and using it. Now I will explain how knowledge graph could address this hallucination issue of LLM. So if we come back to the first example, I have asked ChatGPT what is H01M 10/06. When you go to Google the official document, you will find that it is the classification for lead acid batteries, like the document shown on the screen. The reason sometimes we see many wound words from GPT answer is that this document has many texts about batteries, and some of them are discussing topics related to this wound. So you just search the document, the PDF official document from the patent office. You will see frequency of the word wound in the document, and when you zoom in, you can see the frequency of the word wound around the true answer is very high. That's why ChatGPT got confused, because I guess they use this document to train the model, so somehow it gives a wrong answer. So again, this image shows the answer from ChatGPT. You can see that it talks about wound a lot. Therefore, one has to be very careful when using ChatGPT to generate text. Okay, lots of complaints about ChatGPT. By the way, I still think it is groundbreaking technology. But it's just, there's some issue we had to fix it. So how could we solve this problem? we can actually use knowledge graph to guide the generation process. So this table gives the answer of H01 10/6 from knowledge graph query. You can see that it's a classification for lead acid battery. The answer is correct because this is the official answer from patent office. What we are doing here is that we use the Sparkle query. It's like similar SQL query to table, and we have Sparkle query for knowledge graph to get the answer from the knowledge graph. Here I show you the query and the results. I will not discuss the details about how to build a knowledge graph. And in the future, I will upload a series of the video I'm prepared to teach you how to use Sparkle and how to build knowledge graph, all the other RDF stuff, semantic web science. So in general, you need to build up ontology and map the data to ontology as it is shown on the screen. So in this case, we are transforming the hierarchy of the patent classification into a graph. When we combine the knowledge graph with ChatGPT, we basically feed the knowledge graph to ChatGPT. When ChatGPT generates text, it will refer to the knowledge graph to make sure the answer is correct. Therefore, knowledge graph is very useful to address a hallucinative behavior ChatGPT. Here, I give another example, which is medical knowledge graph. I have helped some startups to do this, and keep telling them that you really need a medical knowledge graph if you want to use large language model to discover drugs or to do whatever you like, because otherwise the chance of making mistakes in medical area is very high. So, okay. This figure also shows that pros and cons of both knowledge graph and ChatGPT. I get it from a paper. I will not go into details here, but you can see the knowledge graph is very useful to address the hallucinative behavior of ChatGPT. So I put the reference at the end of this video. You can find the paper there. So now let me share why I fell in love with knowledge graph. When I started to work as a data scientist, I was very keen to learn all kinds of technology in the data science community, such as common ETL tools, machine learning algorithms, and big data techniques. By the way, I will record the third video to talk about this. The title, the same would be data science and deep neural networks. So, but now we focus on the knowledge graph and large language model. But I want to emphasize, this is the hard lesson I have learned over the last 10 years. Technology is only part of the story. If you look at the big picture, technology is probably only 1/3 of the story. Good management from human beings is another third. You really have to let managers know what's going on with their data, what the logic behind the data, how to govern the data processing and data-driven project. The last third is about integrating common automation tools such as AI technology with the business. So you have technology to do all those data things. You also have the good managers, team, human being, know what's going on. And then you find out which part you should automate it, which part you should leave to the AI. And to do this, knowledge graph plays a big role. To my understanding, it is actually the most important rule for you to do any data-driven project, especially the complex ones. So, by the way, most people learn to do data-driven projects with data models, such as the one shown on the screen. And you can see it's just common SQL data models. You have a table, they are linked, they have different relationship. But however, when you have a large amount of data, you will find it's very hard to manage the data models. Many relationships, so many attributes, so I found it hard to manage them once the complexity of the project grows to another level. I prefer to use knowledge graph to manage the data, manage the relationship, especially for the complex data models. So people who have already used knowledge graph in many industries, but because only those people who deal with a complex project are using it, and Excel still dominates the early entry of the data analysis. So not many people really see it, appreciate the power of knowledge graph. Finance, healthcare, and e-commerce, all those industries have already used knowledge graph or semantic web science a lot. Here I just show you some examples. The first one is called Spoke, which is knowledge graph for biomedical data. The second one is from Swiss Personalized Health Network. They use knowledge graph to integrate data from different sources. I just go through it very fast to give you some examples. You can check it for details if you are interested in those examples. The third one is from IDTA. They use knowledge graph to build up digital twin for the industry. I will not go on and go on about those examples. There's many fantastic examples and how good the knowledge graph could help you to do different things. But since I appreciate the power of knowledge graph, I will record a series of videos to share my experience about knowledge graph and to teach semantic web techniques. So I'm super excited about these things. So right now I'm still recording and will upload them soon. I plan to have 8 videos, so to teach you everything from table-like data, and then transfer you as more like CSV data guy to a knowledge graph. You will learn about Sparkle, RDFs, and Shackle, all those kind of things. So might not be familiar to you now, but once you finish my video, you will appreciate the power of knowledge graph like me. So before I finish this video, I want to share a paper which I found very useful. The paper is called Unifying Large Language Models and Knowledge Graph. This paper gives a good roadmap on how to combine large language models with knowledge graph. I highly recommend you to read it. So okay, that's it. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about knowledge graph, large language model, especially combining those two things, please feel free to ask me. Feel free to leave some comment, and please also subscribe my channel. So I will be happy to answer your questions. I see you for the next video. So bye.